Indie wrestling fans and wrestling fans around the world, if you've landed on this channel, well, welcome here. This is the Video Bros. This is our indie wrestling reviews. We're going to have a great time. And in fact, we got to bring the energy up. So boom, just like that, it's Thursday night. As I said, we're the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, the man sitting beside me. He's the man with the angelic voice. He's Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Thursday. How you doing, brother?
Woo, happy Thursday to you, Munson. Shout out to you, to all the wrestling fans out there, and particularly the Canadian wrestling fans.
You bet. Yeah, we're excited. We're going to have a great time talking about Winnipeg Pro Wrestling. Yes, Winnipeg Pro Wrestling is on the docket here tonight. It's Fight at the Museum. We're going to give you one hell of a good time talking about this one. We're saying hello to Zach, who's in the chat. Thank you for joining us here, Zach. Ready for this big review we got going on. Man, I can't say how excited I am, but before that, Pop Smokes, we could talk about a couple other things. First of all, that weather outside. We've been talking about it every Thursday night, rolling into a blizzard all through April, but goddamn, Papa Smokes, it is beautiful, it is sunny, it is warm, and I am loving life right now.
Oh, absolutely, Munson. It's the last day of April, and finally spring has hit here. My God, what a long and dark and snowy and cold winter it was, as a lot of them are in this area in Canada, but man, just feels like the snake coming out of its skin, shedding its former existence. We've got sun, we've got warmth. You could be outside in your short sleeves. This is just magnificent. We're going to have a great summer, aren't we, Munson?
Oh, we are going to have one hell of a summer. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited, Pop Smokes, as you can tell. I'm even more excited because a couple other great things. As of tomorrow night, plan is for a night out, Video Bros night out there, bringing the ladies with us and going to some wrestling locally here in Saskatoon. Yeah, we're going to be watching the wrestling, Papa Spokes. This ain't a Prairie Pro show, but it is a show being put on by another production company, BPW Wrestling, going to be live in Saskatoon tomorrow night. And we thought, why the hell not? There's a lot of people on that card that we really enjoy, Pop Smokes, and we respect. And it'll be great to go see them in a live capacity. And look who's just entered the room. It's the Mangler on a Thursday night. Always a beautiful day on Thursday nights. Yes, it is. Warm outside. Big plan for tomorrow. Pretty excited. How about you, Pop Smokes?
Oh, also excited. As I've mentioned on here a few times, I love the opportunity to sit in the crowd and watch wrestling as a fan. You know, you and I diligently do the camera work at Prairie Pro Wrestling. It's still good. You still watch it and everything, but we're working at the same time. So I kind of feel like maybe I should be resting at these vocal cords just to get it ready for some yelling, for some heckling, for a damn good time tomorrow night. Munson, you want to have a couple beers and get wild at this show?
Oh, I think we can make that happen. A good old Video Bro night out, just a classic time. I think I'm ready, Papa Smokes. Let's do this thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then going on from there, I always love to plug it. It's PPW, Prairie Pro Wrestling. Papa Smokes, not a lot to report just yet. We haven't announced the ticket sales, but I can let you know Saturday, June the 27th is going to be the next show for Prairie Pro Wrestling. We have had a lot that we've been up to. We got a lot of stuff coming out on YouTube. We just released WrestleMania on the channel this past Saturday. Hopefully, if you haven't checked it out yet, go check that shit out, man. Go and watch PPW. And if you have seen it live and in person, check out the video. A lot of work goes into that stuff. Give us some extra love and support over there. But I'm excited for everything PPW right now, Pop Smokes. Who knows? Maybe we'll get another opportunity with the Saskatoon Berries this summer as well, too. We have just been hitting it to all new notes with Prairie Pro as of late.
For sure. And even the fans that are used to coming to Prairie Pro Wrestling shows at the Cosmo Hall, just off Broadway, the Rush game and the Berries game, it's just a little more fun. It's a little bit different to see PPW in a different context at another sporting event with a different set of fans. Just adds just a little bit of a different dimension to it, and it's so refreshing to see the guys in a different building or different area outside to do their matches, and it looks good, it feels good. I love to do the cross promotion with some of these other fine sports companies in Saskatoon.
Yeah, me too. And I'm excited to see us hopefully get that opportunity again. We had a hell of a time last summer. Let's roll it back and let's do it all again. Please. So just if you're listening, Berries, we want to come back. Have us out. But yes, Pop Smokes, we've got PPW. We're going to go check out BEW. But let's talk about WPW, Winnipeg Pro Wrestling, because this is a big card and there's a lot to unpack from this thing. This is their Fight at the Museum 4. WPW presents Fight at the Museum 4. You can go check out Winnipeg Pro Wrestling over on their YouTube channel, where you can also check out all of these matches absolutely free. So go give them the love and support they deserve. Fight at the Museum, a very different, not a different event, but held in a very different place. And Pop Smokes is going to give you guys all the information on it here in just a moment. But I really love the aesthetic of this. I love that they change things up a lot in Winnipeg Pro Wrestling and give us these different types of venues, and they categorize them with these names that fit that particular venue as well too. So this one is pure class by them once again. And I want to know, Pop Smokes, a little bit more information about where they held Fight at the Museum the 4th.
Absolutely. It was held in the main hall at the Manitoba Museum, formerly known as the Manitoba Museum of Man and Nature. That's the name I remember it under when I used to live in Winnipeg. When I was a little kid, you would get annual tours of the Museum of Man and Nature through your school. And I remember having a great time looking at all the insane old artifacts that they've got there. This is the province's largest nonprofit center for heritage and science education. It focuses on researching and sharing Manitoba's human and natural heritage, culture, and environment. The museum houses 2.9 million artifacts and specimens. It's a lot to look at. They have an Earth history gallery. They have an Arctic and subarctic gallery, a boreal forest gallery, a prairies gallery, and a Hudson's Bay Company gallery, which, if you know anything about Manitoba or Canadian history, the Hudson's Bay Company were a company very much involved in the opening of Canada. Lots of discoveries, lots of maps and such being made by the Hudson's Bay Company and their employees back in the day. Now, one of the highlights for me as a kid, and I'm sure it still would be as an adult, is the planetarium, which is a theater with a rounded dome top, but you lie on your back in this theater, and the images are projected onto the ceiling, onto the rounded ceiling. So it shows the sky as it would be from anywhere on Earth or the galaxy. And it's got all the astronomical information you could want. You can lay back and look at all the galaxies, all the star constellations, the different planets and everything. Very, very cool feature for the Manitoba Museum. There's a science gallery in there. They have a feature called the Brickyard. They use Lego for kids and other visitors to experiment with engineering. They've got a speed racetrack where you can build race cars and test and race them against other visitors' cars. And then they've got another interesting workshop called Lake Winnipeg Shared and Solutions. It's a computer simulation of Lake Winnipeg, the Lake Winnipeg watershed, they call it, and visitors are stewards of the lake. You can strategize what problems to solve and how, because Lake Winnipeg is a drainage lake, which many river systems drain into there. There are all kinds of interesting problems with the lake in terms of algae and various other scientific modes that I won't go into at this time, but very, very cool museum, very interesting for learning for children and adults. And they have a giant hall in the middle, and that's where the wrestling is held. I'm going to assume they have lectures and other kinds of activities in this hall at the time, but you can also rent it out. And as you can see, it looked great on WPW cameras. The fans looked awesome in there. And what a place and what an idea to hold a card at the Museum of Man and Nature. And I have to tip my hat to the guys at WPW, the promoters. I really think it's clever, and I really think it's refreshing that they hold some of their bigger shows in different venues. Now we know that they often, most regularly, hold their cards at the West End Cultural Center, but we've seen Rumble at the Burt, we've seen the fight at the museum. So they're using some of the interesting and historical buildings of Winnipeg almost as characters, almost as features of their bigger shows. I think it adds such a charm and such a class to WPW's events and something special for the fans where you get to go into these historical buildings in Winnipeg and get to see your favorite hometown wrestling. I think it's very clever by the promoters. Awesome idea and so much fun for the fans and for us people also watching it on YouTube.
Yeah, beautifully said there, Papa Smokes. And again, having all those extra features there would also, as a fan, if I were going to be going to the show there, I'd want to go check out things like the planetarium and some of that kind of stuff. As an adult, I love learning new things and checking out cool stuff. That is my jam. It definitely would be great to take that all in before going and checking out a live wrestling show. And hello to our good man Basser joining us here on a Thursday night. Said he almost forgot, but of course he gets that notification. It tells him that the Video Bros are live and he doesn't miss a show. So thank you, Bass, for being here with us on a Thursday night, as always, my friend. But let's get into that wrestling, Papa Smokes. Let's talk about the matches from Fight at the Museum 4, to which there was some fairly good, interesting ones throughout this night, and we'll talk all about them in very big depth here, starting with the opening match of the night, the 4th annual Manitoba Museum Scramble match. And I heard that name, and I'm like, oh, this means a lot of bodies. And you know how I have felt about a lot of bodies in the ring as we've been reviewing wrestling lately. We'll talk. But this one featuring, of course, this is where it started to get more interesting for me because of who started coming out of the gate for us. We got Sweet Bobby Schink. We got Marz, the Specialist. Yes, the one half of the Short Kings, former BPW Tag Team Champion, Marz, the Specialist. Not liked by the Winnipeg crowd, surprisingly, as well, either. Playing the heel here. I was kind of shocked. I'm like, hard to take Marz's heel ever since we've seen him as a clean-cut babyface in PPW for so long. But up next, we had the convict, Jimmy Townsend. And then, of course, Mo Jabari joining the fold. Vaughn Vertigo, another name that very well known. I was shocked to see added into here. Then we had the Mastermind, Kevin Cannon. And last but not least, Evil Uno. And I was kind of like, oh, man. I was like, Evil Uno, huh? I'm like, the thing is, I haven't watched a lot of Evil Uno's wrestling. I didn't really even know about him until people started talking about him in AEW. But I do know he does a lot for Canadian wrestling. And his Mystery Wrestling does some really good stuff there out in Alberta. So I was kind of like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to they talked about how he's like a 20-year veteran and everything. All right, I'm going to give the man a props. I'm going to give this a look in on Evil Uno and check it out. And, this was, again, it's a lot of bodies. Let's not kid ourselves. It's a lot of bodies and a lot of crazy stuff going off. But this got that particular crowd pumped up like nobody's business. And we've talked so much heavily about wanting that energy from the crowd to start off strong. And this was a beautiful way of doing it. I was almost put off when they started doing the nipple twisting spot. I'm like, if they start fucking doing some sort of like weird thing where somebody's nipples manages to suplex every other dude in this match, I am turning this shit off. Like I was that close at that point, but then they didn't go there. So I'm like, all right. So we get in the middle of the match. We get a run in from ATM with a barbed wire baseball bat in here. He goes right after Kevin Cannon in this one. Man, also noted here, Bobby Schink gets some serious damn height when he jumps over those top ropes. For a guy that is as tall and as big as he is, he gets some fucking airtime when he does these things. Like, holy shit. And he ended up getting the big holy shit chant from the crowd during this particular maneuver where he's jumping over the top there. He ends up coming out from the top ropes with a leg drop onto Townsend. That's what brings the pinfall victory. Bobby Schink getting that big pinfall victory. And then, of course, our buddy Blair Pacheco on the commentary alongside Big Merv saying that you got to imagine after winning a big fight like that with so many big names that Bobby Schink's got to be thinking to himself about being back in that picture for the Winnipeg Pro Wrestling Championship. And I couldn't agree with them more. What a perfectly said thing. I didn't hate this as much as I thought I was going to hate this, Papa Smokes. It started off where I was like, scramble match, huh? Then I was like, people I like, okay. And then I start making my notes about the nipple twisting. I'm like, please don't go there. Please don't go there. And then after that, it came together. It had some fun. There was some nice spots in it. Evil Uno actually does good stuff in this one. The crowd really adores him as well too. So he was great throughout. I didn't hate this as much as I should have hated it, and that's about the best stamp I can put on this thing.
Well, sure, and I feel the same way about multi-man scramble matches. Sometimes they're a big mess. Sometimes there's a lot of guys laying outside the ring, selling for long periods, and they can be a real mess. And the multi-man titty twister spot was one example of that. But in fact, I also found this to be quite well done. A lot of credit would have to be given to the wrestlers themselves, who are a pretty experienced bunch. These guys knew that they could pull this match off nicely. Bobby Schink came out as looking to me like the clear favorite. We've watched some WPW before. We know he's a top of the card guy. This scramble match is more of a middle of the card thing, so he looked like the clear favorite. He always looks awesome. Vaughn Vertigo looked very good in this. Was lovely to see Marz, the specialist, the big favorite of yours and mine over in PPW. Yep. He had some good moments against Bobby Schink. I mean, the height difference is quite shocking between the two, but we know that Marz is good to go at whatever height. Marz does a top rope moonsault of just this complete beauty. Better than EO Skies, just absolutely perfect all the way over. We've seen him do it in PPW, but this one in this match was just absolutely perfect. Love it. And then another highlight for me in terms of actual ring work and moves was Bobby Schink kind of finishing off the rest of the pack with an airplane spin that knocked most guys down and out of the ring, and then onto Townsend, that top rope leg drop. Also a thing of beauty, just performed awesomely. I will always wince looking at those off the ropes leg drops with the bump that you take on your tailbone and your spine. But Bobby Schink has been a wrestler for a long time, very experienced. He's good to go. He knows what he can do, what he can get away with. Gets the pinfall, so no surprise there. The top guy gets the win in this, and then of course inserts himself into sniffing around that title scene, the main title scene, the current champion being, of course, Chiseled Chad.
Yeah, but would Chiseled Chad hold that title by the end of the night? We know he's got a big championship matchup. We're going to be talking about that as the main event. But sorry, I clipped this off. But Basser actually wrote Mystery Wrestling has some of the funniest wrestling clips he's ever seen. So even funnier than the Carnival of Chaos there, Bass. I got to know, because Papa Smokes and I were dying laughing talking about the Carnival of Chaos before we went live here tonight.
There's something special about them. I don't know what it is, but I can tell that other people are getting into it as well. And something very bizarre about those guys,
definitely different, and definitely committed to the role of sorts. Going on with the WPW show again before we go too deep down the rabbit hole of the Carnival of Chaos. Yeah. So, yes, Bass. Yes, the clowns. But moving on from there, our next match is the WPW 92.1 city title match. Sammy Peppers, the champion, defending against BRAX. And I'm like, oh man, I'm worried for Sammy Peppers, not only because BRAX is a big old boy, but I'm thinking to myself, is this when Winnipeg Pro Wrestling is going to pull the trigger on having a faction hold all the gold? I started to sense it. I'm like, this is it right here, isn't it? I like, outside of them having one of the ladies join them and become, the ladies champion in their faction, right now it's 4 guys and BRAX is the only one without a belt right now. And I'm thinking this might be it right here. This might be the chance for them to pull this off. We'll find out. Stay tuned. This one kicks off with a lot of chants coming from the crowd chanting overrated towards BRAX. I kind of died laughing at that one. I thought this Winnipeg crowd cracks me up. I mean, they're great. You can just tell this is Western Canadian people having a good old beer drinking time at the wrestling show.
For sure.
Yeah, the audience adores Sammy Peppers. Let's not kid ourselves. Sammy Peppers is the one guy in every independent wrestling show, the local guy that no matter who they're fighting, they are the baby face. They are the favorite. They are the ones the people will get behind forever and ever. You can have them be the person that loses 10 times in a row, and as soon as they get that win on the 11th time around, that whole audience is going to come unglued. That is how much they adore this guy. Much like our PPW audience has done with Phil Deadly over on our side, it's kind of that kind of rotation. No matter what Phil ever does, he will always be the guy that they love. He could turn around and tell them they're all a bunch of losers, and they'll be like, no, Phil, you're just bugging us. Come give us a hug, right? It's the same with Sammy Peppers, and I feel that from the Winnipeg audience throughout this thing. BRAX utilizes a lot of those big power moves throughout this thing, breaks Peppers down quite a lot through the match. Peppers does a great job of selling. He's fantastic at selling, fights from underneath very, very well throughout this thing. But of course, inevitably, Chad Daniels is going to come. He trips up Sammy Peppers, does what he needs to do to give BRAX that advantage, which turns into a power bomb, hits Peppers. 1, 2, 3. New champion is BRAX. And again, we don't know that all 4 of them are still going to be champion by the end of the night because we still got new money and Chad Daniels coming up in fights, but they have pulled the trigger that currently this faction holds all the gold. New 92.1 city champion. Your thoughts on this, Papa Smokes?
Well, when we first started watching WPW last year, it was Sammy Peppers' rise to getting this belt, kind of their middle of the card belt, their intercontinental championship, so to speak. And I was impressed by Peppers as a babyface. The crowd loves him. Like, they really love him. And he is a pure babyface. Friendly, enthusiastic, energetic all the time. The kind of babyface that in the fans' minds, you think a guy like that can just apply himself to wrestling full time. He can do anything. And then he makes the fan believe, like, if I was like him, I could do anything too. It's a great feeling, and it's a great buzz to have as a babyface. But as much as Peppers is popular, BRAX is hated. And it's not because BRAX shows a whole bunch of personality negative in the ring. It's that he's part of this solid gold faction, and the fans hate this faction. BRAX also kind of gets a little bit of that feeling. Do you remember fans didn't like Goldberg, for example, because he was booked so strongly that he was winning matches in 1 minute all the time just based on his strength and intensity? BRAX kind of has that feeling going on too, where the fans don't like him because he's too strong, he's too powerful. And this now is a really, really great match, in my opinion, on paper, starting this out for WPW, because you've got one of the most popular superstars against one of the most hated wrestlers in the company. And as you said, BRAX did everything he could to break Sammy down. He used that strength. He was giving him those heel throws all the way across the ring, body slams. I liked at one point BRAX gave him the double hand skull crusher like Crush used to do.
Yeah.
Or like the great Khali used to do. That was a pretty cool hold to use for a guy that's damn near 300 pounds. The only time Peppers was really ever able to get any offense in on this match was capitalizing on BRAX's mistakes. BRAX would charge to the corner and miss, stun himself. Peppers might be able to get a couple of moves in there, but BRAX, just through sheer will, strength, power, weight, was just dominating this match all the way through. The match was almost over before BRAX even went to one knee, never mind taking off his feet. So yes, as you mentioned, Chiseled Chad comes out and interferes. This is only building heat for a champion that is already a heat magnet as far as a heel goes. BRAX hits the two-handed choke slam, power bomb, whatever that is called, pinfall, new champion, and Solid Gold has all the belts. So this is just designed to frustrate the crowd. The crowd hates this. They hate these guys. All they want to see is Chad lose his belts. New money, my God, are they obnoxious? The fans want them to lose their belts, but now they got another one. And like you suggested, if someone like Ava Lawless were to join their faction and win the belt, the women's belt, can you imagine that? But at this point, the popular champion they had of the City FM belt now in the hands of one of the more hated heels in the company. So who's gonna come and chase that belt next is the best question. They've got a few contenders for that, including Peppers again, but who's gonna beat BRAX for that belt? Really good question.
Yeah, the baddies with all the belts, Solid Gold, as our good buddy Blair, the voice of Winnipeg Pro Wrestling and the Grainmaker Wrestling Podcast. Go give our good friend a follow, a sub over on his channel as well too. But yeah, Blair would just finish talking about the CITI FM Championship match, and from there we continue to talk about Solid Gold because the next matchup is the Winnipeg Pro Wrestling Tag Team title match. New money, and I probably should say this correctly because God forbid they ever listen to this podcast and hear me say their names wrong, but it is the Star Bryce Bentley and Scott Ripley III, the champions, defending against Cheeks and Levi Knight. Yes, Cheeks apparently has been gone for a year, Pop Smokes. I don't know if you're familiar with him prior to this. This was my first time seeing him, but the fans came absolutely unglued when Cheeks came in this night. Of course, still trying to wrap my head around Levi, the fan favorite. We don't see it very often, especially in our neck of the woods. So interesting to see, but he always does a great job of changing up how his act goes. Like his act is similar, but he does change up his in-ring performance as well too. His in-ring moveset is different between playing the good guy here in Winnipeg or playing the bad guy here in Saskatoon, which I really appreciate and like to see.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen Levi Knight in Saskatoon in some months now, right? He lost a kind of a loser leaves the promotion match, and we've never seen Levi Knight again.
Yeah, we definitely haven't. I mean, there's this oddly interesting new luchador wrestler we've had hanging around Winnipeg Pro Wrestling. A lot of accusations about it potentially being Levi Knight, but no solid proof yet right now, as of right now. I mean, as far as we know, that is El Hijo de la Noches and not Levi Knight. Blair saying he got misty-eyed on commentary when Cheeks returned. Blair, I'd love to know more about the story about Cheeks' return, because I know it was met with a lot of fanfare, right? Like the fans were ecstatic for it. So love to know a little bit more about why Cheeks was out for so long and everything that how it meant to all you guys coming in there. So, and I even wrote here that he is like Josh Cheeks Holiday, the name is extremely over with your crowd. Big hometown boy, very, very over. Yeah, it was last year, I believe, at the Voyager Cup. He was knocked out by BRAX. But this is great as it was, and Cheeks and Levi did a great job putting together some great tandem moves for a team that seemed like it was there on the spot. They just, hey, Levi needed a partner to go after the tag champs. This was a very competitive, well done matchup here. Once again, New Money are fantastic as a tag team, solid. I know they're frustrating. That is what they're supposed to be, but they are really good. And it's Astrid in the chat. Hey, Astrid, thanks for joining us on Ring Respect Radio. Yeah, New Money, again, I can't say it enough. They are that team you love to hate, because it's like they are so good at what they do, but you just want to punch them in their goddamn faces every time you see them. And that's how you know the mark of a good heel tag team, and they do a great job of it, cheating behind the referee's back, taking every liberty that they can throughout the matchup. And in the end, as always, the numbers game and all the liberties they take are just too much. And that's how New Money get away with this once again, walking away with the Winnipeg Pro Wrestling Championship. And bingo, we still have all 4 belts around the waists of Solid Gold. Papa Smokes, your thoughts on the tag title match?
Oh, very good match. And you brought up Levi Knight and Cheeks. Yeah, Blair and the guys were curious about the name Cheeks as well. You don't get that nickname for nothing. And in the middle of, you can see that he's got a charisma and an energy with the crowd, and they were just loving seeing him back with a rousing chant of "clap those cheeks." So I mean, the crowd having a good time in this match and having some great chants. Another part about the crowd I liked in this, the one sign said Scott Ripley the Turd. That
That
was
one
very
was
nice.
solid. That was so good.
Oh yeah, and it was held up right in Ripley's face, and much to his disdain. The baby faces jump started this match. You could see that they were serious about possibly taking the belts off of the tag team champions here, but New Money are tag team experts. As Blair told us on commentary, they have held the WPW belts almost the entire time that they've been a tag team. So they've got this down pat. They're distracting the referee. They're double teaming. They're choking. They're using closed fists. They're raking their bootlaces across their opponent's face. They're quintessential heels, and they're letting the crowd know that they aren't even nearly good enough to be in the same room with New Money. New Money isolate Levi Knight for a lot of this match, which leaves Cheeks powering up on the apron for most of this match. When he finally gets the hot tag, it is hot as hell, and the crowd goes crazy for this. But eventually, of course, the champs really don't even resort to cheating at the end. They hit a two-man DDT finisher, pinfall on Levi Knight, and so much for Cheeks' comeback. But you got a good, exciting third match in here, and the crowd is very entertained, but still in that state of frustration because they would love to see New Money with their bags a little bit lighter without those tag team titles in them. But not tonight.
Yeah, definitely not tonight. So New Money holds on to the belts. We move on from there. It's triple threat action. We have the Hellion Ava Lawless taking on the Sweetest Pea Kristara and the return of the Matriarch to Winnipeg Pro Wrestling. Haven't seen her since Rumble at the Burt. But again, I was happy to see these three ladies up in this match. They do great work together. You can tell all three of them have worked together quite often. They're very comfortable working in that ring. There was a lot of the time that Ava spent dominating good portions of this matchup, working both the baby faces over. Then, you kind of get a little bit of that team up, Kristara and the Matriarch trying to work together, so to speak, in order to overcome Ava, who's, been, leading most of the matchup up until this point, until they just no longer could get along, and there becomes a little bit of a shoving match between the two ladies, causing that friction, which is enough really for this match to start getting out of hand. All three ladies fighting each other, laying it in heavy, very well done. And in the end, the Matriarch ends up pinning Kristara to get the victory here. This was a solid matchup. Again, it breaks up from the other matchups that we had on here because there isn't any other triple threats. We had the Scramble, we've had a singles match, we've had tag team, but it was nice to see a triple threat and also nice to see them get three of their top lady stars there because, again, with having the main event be for the women's championship, that, again, this is the triangle of the three that they're looking at as potentials for whomever the champion is at the end of the night. So it's nice to see what they've got put together here. Interesting to see the Matriarch goes over. Maybe the Matriarch is going to be the opponent for whoever the champion's going to be next. Very interesting there. So this was good. It's exactly the place where it needed to be on the card, and well done by these four great professionals.
For sure. And as you said, we all have an excitement for the women's title match, which is going to main event this card. I like that WPW puts the effort into featuring the ladies' matches, and giving them a main event sometimes when there's really a lot of heat around the women's title. So we've got a heel versus two baby faces in this, and like you said, Ava Lawless does a ton of the offensive work in this match. I'm really, really growing to like her. I always have liked her work, but I like it even more since I've been watching her in WPW. She's awesome. she takes over on the two baby faces, starts working them over, and clearly caught by the ringside microphones, tells the two baby faces, "This is my ring, bitch." Ooh, nice. You can feel
That
the
was awesome.
tension. Now that's how wrestlers talk to each other sometimes. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
And
If you don't mind me interrupting just for 1 second, Bob Stokes, while we say hello to our good friends over at Island Pro
hey,
Wrestling in the chat here, saying hello
hey
and
guys.
mentioning, the matriarch stage, yes, and of course Ava, Lawless, yeah, absolute fire. So sorry to interrupt you, Bob Stokes, but carry on.
Oh, very cool to say hi to our friends over at Island Pro Wrestling as well. But yeah, Ava really, really looked like she had this match, maybe because she was doing so much of offensive work in this. Eventually, things break down between the two baby faces who are going to collaborate and try and get rid of Ava. But like you said, the matriarch goes over. She powered up and hit a nice jig, which gave her some extra sauce to all her strikes after that big flying elbow drop. She's got some size. She's got some weight to her. She gets the pinfall over Kristara. And now you've got to think you've got a brand new number one contender for the women's title. Women's title yet to be decided tonight. But whoever it's going to be, you've got the matriarch breathing down your neck, and that's something that champion better be concerned about. The
Mhm.
matriarch, big, strong, very adept in the ring, and she's got a huge following in Winnipeg and in many other cities in Canada as well. But when she comes for that WPW Women's Championship, the champion better be ready for her.
You better believe it. And we'll find out shortly who that champion's going to be. But before we get there, we got to find out if the last member of Solid Gold can hang on to his championship. And he is up against some pretty damn tough competition. The WPW Heavyweight Championship on the line. Chisel Chad Daniels, the champion, defending against the Canadian Hercules, Tyler Colton. You know, this one has been building up for a while, Papa Smokes. Tyler Colton, the winner of Rumble of the Burt, going on to face the champion here tonight, finally. We, of course, see Chad Daniels accompanied to the ring by BRAX. We start to think BRAX is definitely going to be a bit of an X factor on the outside of the ring, but hell, Tyler Colton looks like he could handle a fight against two guys at the same time. He's not any slouch. He's a big man, big power lifter, lots of strength. So BRAX does try to be like that in the early goings. He tries to grab out the Colton's legs. The ref hold on here. So right behind the ref sight, allowing Chad to attack Colton from there. BRAX then takes a lot more liberties with the rules after that throughout this entire matchup. And knowing that the ref probably is not going to call for a DQ. And I think that Winnipeg Pro Wrestling, we said this about the use of the choke out that Shayna did at the Voyager Cup on the outside, knowing that there couldn't be a count out and knowing that it's enough to hurt and injure her opponent there at the same time. I think that was the kind of liberties BRAX was taking, in a sense that he knows the referee doesn't want to call for a disqualification, knowing that that's exactly what Tyler Colton doesn't want either. So putting himself into this position, but that doesn't last forever because the referee finally gets his stripes and gets BRAX the hell out of there. This is going to be a proper one-on-one, or at least we're hoping it's going to be a proper one-on-one there. But we go throughout this matchup. The ref gets knocked out, dazed in the corner from a hit in the corner, and then Chad goes with a low blow right through to Dick Kick City on Colton there. Gets only a 2 9/10 count after doing so. Before BRAX returns and distracts the referee and all of the event staff. They have all this security, all this event staff, all trying to get BRAX out of here, all at the same time. A complete distraction is made, and that's when they get to have new money come out. They go in for the chair shots on Colton. Chad capitalizes with the springboard cutter, gets that pinfall victory. 1, 2, 3, and Solid Gold solidify it, Papa Smokes. All four hold the belts high as they are victorious. Man, I wondered what this one was going to turn out to be like, because Tyler Colton, an absolute legend. Chisel Chad Daniels, though, I mean, he's newer. in professional wrestling, but he has really made a great name for himself here, definitely on the Western provinces, and I think a lot of other places as well too. This was it was a great matchup. A lot of interference, of course, but you expect that with the faction right now. I think it was the easier way of making sure that Tyler Colton wasn't the one that went over Chad Daniels. It wasn't the right time to take the belt off Chad just yet. I think there will be that great baby face that will come along and eventually take that belt from him. But Tyler Colton also doesn't need the Winnipeg Pro Wrestling Championship. He's been to that dance many times before. He's a top guy no matter what match he's in the night. So I think that the belt is made perfect for someone like Chiseled Chad Daniels right now. And cynically, I have to say I kind of like the booking decision here to have the belts on all four guys for the moment, because it's something for everybody to think about how they're going to approach preventing those interferences in the future. How are they going to stop that so that people can get a fair shot at the belts? And that's going to be the storyline moving forward, I think.
Yeah, that's very well put, Munson. I was questioning or thinking about the decision about having solid gold with all the belts, and yeah, I think it opens up the booking book quite a lot, because now you can have multiple baby faces making the chase for multiple belts, right? 3 belts, the tag team titles, the heavyweight title, and the City FM title. You can really go into summer just pushing your baby faces by saying, oh yeah, they've got to be strong. They've got to have a plan against that interference. So we're going to have some baby faces chasing some belts throughout the summer, whether those belts might change hands, or one of them might, or 2 of them might, but this is all probably leading up to the fall when Rumble at the Burt might happen, or one of the other big shows that they have. This is good booking strategy, in my opinion. You talk about Tyler Colton. We've watched him a number of times live out here in Saskatchewan. He's a legend, the Canadian Hercules. The name fits perfectly, and he is one of those wrestlers that he's got a lot of skill, he's got a lot of experience, but even better than that is Tyler Colton is an attraction due to his presentation. He's so big, he's so strong, and he looks so intimidating. I love him with his shaved head now and everything. He looks even scarier than he used to. He's got even more weight on him than when we used to watch him at high impact shows and such in Saskatoon. And then he steps into a match against Chiseled Chad Daniels, and now, kind of like BRAX versus Sammy Peppers, you've got the smaller guy against the bigger guy. Now, Chad Daniels has a great physique on him as well, but I like how Blair put it, is that it was muscles for show versus muscles for go.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Chad looks good. He's ripped. He's got the washboard abs and all that, but he ain't anything in strength compared to Tyler Colton, who weighs in at 305 pounds. I mean, this is a big boy, and so you know that Chad is gonna have to wrestle a different kind of match than he normally does, and he's gonna have to rely on that faction. Faction that he's got. We saw BRAX out there at the beginning. Yes, he's going to push the rules. He's going to try and interfere and distract. But the referee, very rightfully so, tosses him, much to the delight of the fans. But as we've seen, sometimes those ringside bands, there's no one back there that's physically restraining BRAX. If he wants to come out again, he's going to come out, and he does. So we had a couple of cool spots in this as well. Tyler Colton was kind of selling a wrist pull or wrist injury that he might have incurred at the beginning of this match. But still, that stalling vertical suplex that he did with Chad, just beautiful, just holding him up straight. What a display of strength that was. Daniels hits the groin shot, but still, Colton kicks out of that as well. So what's it going to take to put Tyler Colton down? But of course, new money come out with the chairs, and you just can't beat that numbers game. This faction, Solid Gold, now that Chad Daniels is heavyweight champion. This faction is all about control and all about protection. And they're there to keep that belt on chiseled Chad Daniels, which they do on this evening in the face of very stiff competition in Tyler Colton. Looks like an almost unachievable win to get for Chad Daniels. But with the help of BRAX and the new money, of course, Colton can't really stand up to that. Gets hit with the springboard cutter and pinned. So Solid Gold soaking in the booze of this raucous crowd in the Manitoba Museum. Solid Gold, all the belts, raising them high after this match. So begs the question, like I said before, what baby faces are going to be on the chase for those 3 sets of titles throughout the summer and maybe even heading into the fall into their next of their big shows.
Yeah, it's going to be curious to see who they put forward and where it's going to go from there. But Master saying, sorry to veer off topic. Just saw Riley Cruz is heading back to Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. Yes, he is. Big congratulations to our man Riley Cruz heading over to Reality of Wrestling. This is actually his second run with them. He did this run with them just last year as well too. He's going to be there for all of May and I think most of, if not all of June. I think he might be back in time for June the 27th for more PPW, but he would be back just in time if he is. So.
Oh, I hope so, because Riley Cruz, one of our homegrown talents here in Saskatoon, and he's gained so much skill, so much confidence and experience over the last, let's say, year and a half or so, that he's currently one of the hottest things going in Saskatchewan wrestling by a long shot, not just Saskatchewan wrestling. He's gaining momentum all over Canada and in the States, just looking like an untapped well of potential and talent. Riley Cruz just couldn't be happier for a really nice young man, a very popular babyface in our company, and just getting lots of bookings, getting lots of work. He's awesome.
Yeah, and Alan Pro saying Riley Cruz is going to ROW with Mr. A1 Sage Scott. Yes, and we hope the best for Riley. Of course, we always want him to come back to good old Saskatoon and be part of Prairie Pro Wrestling all the time. And we do hope that he's back in time for June the 27th. But you can't hold a good kid down, and Riley Cruz is getting all those bookings because of the hard work he's put in, and he's been able to put in that hard work because the Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy. And shameless plug here, check out the Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy online over on Facebook and reach out if you want to become a professional wrestler and follow in those same steps that one Riley Cruz has made. But now back to our show, back to the main event of the evening. This match is scheduled for one fall. And it is for the WPW Women's Championship. It is the champion returning to WPW, Mercedes Moné, taking on Jody Threat, who won the Voyager Cup and the very first ever Women's Voyager Cup match. Absolutely excited for this one. We know that last time that this turned out very well between these two ladies. Unfortunately, Jody Threat lost that one due to interference from Ava Lawless. Hoping that we would get one here, that we would get just a single one-on-one matchup for the belt between these two ladies. And that's what we ended up getting, Papa Smokes. We got a straight-up 1v1 championship matchup to go to the top of the night. The Moné draws heat like nobody's business sometimes out there. There's a point where she grabbed that pink hat from somebody in the audience and put it on as she got into the ring, which really riled the crowd up. There was some chants going back and forth about, or someone yelling out, "That's my hat," at one point there, trying to get the hat back, and it kept getting tossed around a few times. I thought that was quite entertaining. Jody Threat's an absolute delight. She comes out, ball of fire, all this excitement. She is a fighter. These two ladies knew what they were doing throughout this thing very, very well. Jody hits spears to absolute perfection, by the way, too. Like her spear that she uses to end up winning this matchup is just absolutely phenomenal. So this match, great between these two ladies. They got to have a decent amount of time. You put your star that you can't paid for to come back on last, which was great. this, I think, did wonders for them. I know their YouTube views are through the roof on this particular video, of course, having Moné back in the title picture there and having Jody Threat too. Jody Threat is a damn draw as well too. She is a big name and a great name for them. But she does everything and ends up getting the big win over Mercedes Moné to recapture the WPW Women's Championship. This was perfectly told. This was perfectly placed. This was absolutely awesome. This was a great matchup. Well done by both these two ladies. Jody even afterwards gets that microphone and talks about how she might not be from Winnipeg. She's from Toronto, but she considers Winnipeg to be her home. This is her people here in Winnipeg, and they absolutely love and adore her there. I don't have anything more to add, Papa Smokes. This was the best match on the card, and deservingly so. It was the main event for a reason, and the ladies killed it.
I agree, and partly due to the build-up this with the whole Voyager Cup tournaments and everything, this was really going to be a big match. Mercedes Moné, who's been a huge international star in the past, coming up to Winnipeg to do some matches for WPW. You like to see it. It's so exciting for fans to see a wrestler that they watch on TV every week, come to their town and or city and do a match, especially an exciting main event like this. Jody Threat is as over as anybody can get in any wrestling company here in WPW. Coming down from Toronto, the Wild Child is just huge. Nothing fancy about a gimmick or anything like that. Just pedal to the metal enthusiasm, coming out, chugging a beer with the fans. Great babyface shit right there. Threat had, I talk about the build up to this. Threat had beaten Kingsley, Allie Catch, and Shayna Baszler in the Voyager Cup, so none of those being pushovers whatsoever. You and I weren't totally familiar with Kingsley, but she impressed. She was very good. She's from Australia. Allie Catch is one of the queens of the indie scene. She travels all over, getting as many bookings as she wants. She wrestles every night somewhere else. And then Shayna Baszler needs no introduction, has been in the big companies with a lot of success, has an awesome style and an awesome gimmick as a lady shooter wrestler and all the limb manipulation and everything. But Threat had weathered the storm of these three matches, earned her shot against Mercedes Moné. But Moné wasn't going to go down easily. And as a heel, she came out to some cat calls and some derision, of course, but she's also popular, just like we said, because she's a big star. She was Sasha in the big company that's on TV. She's in the other company, Tony Khan's company. She's well known there too. And fans will just love to see a ladies wrestling star in their hometown. So Moné, yeah, they battled outside of the ring. You could see that they were going to use this venue to their advantage. They battled out on the entrance ramp. They battled out amongst the fans. The referee was also going to be lenient with this one because we wanted to see a fight and we wanted to see who was better. Moné likes to use those double knee strikes running into the corner. She used those to quite a good advantage. She was twerking in Jody Threat's face. That got the fans going. I also like the way Mercedes does her defensive wrestling. You notice that she positions herself in the corner and often baited Threat into charging her in the corner, which she always seemed to evade or get those double knees up. Smart. That's why she's been a successful wrestler. All of Threat's strikes look good. Threat looks very strong in the ring as well. And Mercedes not a huge woman at all, so Threat was able to really do some nice lifts on her, some big examples of strength in this match. But seemingly out of nowhere, towards the end of this match, Threat hits a nice spear off the ropes. Moné sells that nicely, looks like she's broken in half. Threat hits the F5 and gets the pinfall, finally completing her journey through the Voyager Cup, through those three grueling matches against top competition. Threat proves that she can run with the big dogs, with the big girls in the world of wrestling. Gets a pinfall over Mercedes Moné, who, as I hear, doesn't like to get pinned very often, but she didn't have any choice in this match. Threat was popular, enthusiastic, full of energy, had the crowd behind her. It was her night, and she went over. So Moné eats a pinfall, and then wow, now we've got Threat as the first three-time WPW Ladies Champion, and
first ever three-time champion of any of the champions, I do believe, and well too. I think that's what Blair said on commentary. First time they've named someone three-time champ in WPW.
Even better, and that means you're over with the fans for some time now, and still over. So huge tip of the cap to Jody Threat. She's absolutely killing it in women's wrestling in Canada, and took a little moment to speak into the fans through the microphone. She said, "I'm probably going to get in trouble from WPW management for this, but I want to thank you guys." She said, "I'm from Toronto, but I feel like Winnipeg is my second home." And as we've joked about in the past, Munson, she's a Winnipegger now, or a pegger, as we like to say. Good joke. Everybody can have a little chuckle at that too, and I'm sure Jody Threat has as well. Standing tall, proud ladies champ. Excellent work by her.
There you go. She represents your hometown now, Papa Smokes. You got to be proud. So great show again. Yeah, she's a beggar now, officially. You've adopted her officially now as a three-time champion. WPW Fight in the Museum 4, absolutely fantastic. You can go check it out on YouTube. We loved watching it, as always. And thank you to Winnipeg Pro Wrestling and all of the great indie wrestling companies that provide their material absolutely free for us fans to watch and even put up with guys like you and I reviewing it on a Thursday night. But hopefully, once again, we've been very respectful of what you guys do in the ring. We love what each and every one of you do, and just bringing our perspective to the table. But in the meantime, in between time, Papa Smokes, I'm going to put up the most expensive banner in the world. You're going to tell the people where they can find you and what you got coming up.
All right, everybody. You're already watching Ring Respect Radio on a Thursday night, so you know I'm here every single Thursday. What was my streak, Munson? 100 and some Thursdays in a row?
Yeah, I think you're at 165 officially now. I think it was 163. That's added two more. So I believe you're at 165 in a row, officially at least anyway. It's probably more than that, but definitely at least 165.
We got to get an Iron Man title for that, Munson. We got to get a belt made up. I want that, and I'm going to wear it on this podcast. But at any rate, you can always find me Thursday nights on Ring Respect Radio, OLE Podcast, and the Video Bros Network. Other than that, I have some small social media presence. I can be found on Elon Musk's Free Speech Wonderland, known as X, at smokes_papa. Also, allegedly, at least on Twitch at papa_smokes_.
As for myself, Bobby Munson, over on the X Real Bobby Munson, Instagram, Threads, Video Bros SK, Twitch, Video Bro _Bobby Munson, Blue Sky, it's Bobby Munson, Blue Sky, blah, 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 all that stuff. That's where you can find me, what I got coming up. Of course, you can catch me and Andre C, 11 a.m. Eastern time this Sunday, talking about your week in sports and what a week it's been. Lots to talk about, lots to unfold. Check us out at 11 a.m. Eastern time. You can catch myself and Papa Smokes as your commentary team for Prairie Pro Wrestling over on YouTube with a new match dropping every Saturday. This Saturday, we have El Hijo de la Noches taking on, I think it's T.Y. Jackson. I'm pretty sure it's T.Y. Jackson. I'm certain it's T.Y. Jackson. I'm going to roll with that. Anyway, tune in regardless. It's El Hijo versus somebody, and we hope that he smacks the taste out of El Hijo's mouth. But check it out this Saturday over on the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. You can also find other great shows here on OLE Podcast. Check us out on all social media and also YouTube and Twitch, where we are a Twitch and YouTube partner. Likes, follows, subscribes. All those things are great. Super chat, super stickers. Those are fun too. And if you're watching on replay in about 24 hours. Once this is processed, you can give us hype points up to 3 times a week. You can give your favorite shows hype points and hype us up. We want to go up the Canadian hype charts once again, straight to the top like we always do. But that's going to be it for us on Ring Respect Radio. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you next Thursday night. Take care, everyone.